I learned this week that Lidl make extremely good croissants. They last forever, they heat up easy, and they're just delightful. I learned this week that the GitUp Git 2 Pro camera that I've been talking about now for about 4 months, and I have finally bought, not using it because I don't use it for this, but yeah, I learned that they still don't actually have their own native Android or iOS, I guess, app for the thing. So you have to use some monkey's third-party thing, which is absolute garbage. Just in case anybody wants to know, the GitUp Git 2 stuff rates pretty well, and it's never really been mentioned much that they don't really have a proper app to drive it. I mean, you can use a screen on the back, fortunately, which is, I'll never probably use the Wi-Fi lap thing anyway. But if you were buying one with the hope to do so, I suggest you probably get an SJ cam or some other alternative. I also learned this week that pencils can be used as resistors. Apparently the carbon that they're made from, you can sort of strip back a bit of the wood, depending on what resistance value you want. You connect one end and then connect it somewhere down the middle of the pencil. Why would you want to do that? Well, let's say for example, and I've ripped this off completely from somebody else, but it's a good idea. Let's say for example, the battery on your phone's gone flat and you don't have a charger. Well, if you got your car, you've got a 12-volt power supply. And in theory and in practice, I haven't tried it, but I've seen it, you could get a bit of wire, fiddle around with it. I would probably start out low, move up the pencil until the thing starts to charge. Hey presto. I also learnt this week that not all, and I've got one here, not all 150 milliamp hour 1S lipos like this have the same connector like this. Disappointingly, I discovered this week that Evolv products, they of American ancestry, that produce electronic cigarette boards, i.e. the power supply boards that go into a lot of electronic cigarettes, particularly high-end ones, are rubbish. I've had 3, and I've had 3 fail. That's 100%. Not a very large sample, but it's 100%. All the ones I've had have failed. As you might have seen at the beginning, you can get a drone with an FPV camera for 40 quid. Not new, granted. Maybe 100 quid new. Actually, that's not true. If you're prepared to go shopping on, let's say, GearBest or Banggood, you could get pretty much the same drone as I was using there for 50 quid, new. However, this was bought second hand, not by me, by somebody else, for 40 quid. And yes, it does fly, sort of. And yes, it does have a camera on it, sort of. What you're looking at is basically a cheap copy of a DJI Phantom, 450 quid plus. So we're talking about a tenth of the price. Is this more than 10 times worse? I don't think so. It's probably 10 times harder to fly, but it's underpowered. The camera is specified as HD. It ain't. It's pretty poor, but that's cheap. And if there's no wind, you can fly it. And if the light's good, you could probably just about fly FPV. I also discovered this week that the little hexagonal screwdriver bits that you put into, say, your cordless drill, that look like this, them are called power bits. I don't know why they're called power bits. I don't see how the longer bits are any more powerful. Maybe they're made out of slightly stronger material. I doubt that. Maybe there is a specification, but I doubt it. The little taper in there is called a power groove. Why? I don't know why. Why is it called? What's power got to do with it? Does it provide power? It's not really a groove either, to be honest. Well, I suppose it is. But anyway, if you're searching for such things, as I have been this week, search for power bits. I also learned this week I'll tell you what I just learnt this week. You can't fit a whole one of those little croissants in your mouth and expect to get it into your stomach. I pleasantly discovered this week that you can get a rather usable USB microscope. And I don't really mean the type of microscope where you're going to be looking at DNA cells, because no, probably won't do that. But for PCB work, that is like soldering PCBs, checking them, all that kind of thing, is ideal. It's called an Andonstar, Adonstar, and it looks like this. Yeah, it's alright. It's made out of some kind of aluminium, I think, or I don't know, some alloy. It's pretty solid, it holds itself up, the camera's pretty good, it focuses quite well, got a useful working distance, but probably the best thing about this is that it's so thin that you can get it really close to the part that you might be soldering on, for example, and it doesn't get in the way of the solder iron. So yeah, I think something about 30 quid on eBay. Well usable. This week I discovered that you can get, and I now have, Bluetooth cordless drill batteries. I'm sure this probably proves useful for tradespeople who have maybe lots of these batteries, so they can go onto their phone and check which batteries are at which charge without actually having to pick them up and press the button on them. For me, I don't think I'll personally ever use it, but Bluetooth in a drill, that's cool.